The film opens on a remote island with a watchtower standing alone against the horizon. Inside, we meet our protagonist, Mike Mason, watching a supply boat making its way toward shore. This boat delivers his weekly provisions to the island. As the vessel pulls up, Amon sends his young niece, Jessie, a 10-year-old girl, onto the island with a delivery. Jessie approaches Mike's place and sets down his supplies outside, leaving a small gift with him, her attempt at befriending this mysterious client. But Mike wants nothing to do with anyone, so he stays out of sight. Jessie eventually leaves, and this same routine has been playing out for months now. We see Mike's simple existence, living quietly in his house, with his dog as his only companion. Chess is pretty much the only thing that brings him any joy. More months roll by, and one day, Jessie shows up again with another delivery. This time, Mike happens to be home when Jessie calls out to him. He steps outside to see what she wants. Jessie points out that she's been leaving him gifts with every delivery for months now, but he never even acknowledges them. Mike flatly tells her she doesn't need to come back after today. Jessie challenges him, asking why he's being such a jerk. Mike just shuts the door in her face. Jessie heads back to her uncle's boat, but there's a problem. A massive storm is rolled in. In the chaos, Jessie's boat flips over in the churning water. She's going under. Mike sees what's happening from his window. Without hesitation, he grabs his own boat and races out into the storm. He dives into the water, fighting against the waves to reach Jessie. When it gets to her, he realizes her uncle is already drowned. Mike manages to pull Jessie into his boat and desperately works to revive her. After a tense moment, Jessie coughs up water and regains consciousness. Mike gets her back to his place where he notices she's got a nasty injury on her leg. He breaks the news to her that Uncle didn't make it. Jessie's devastated by the loss. The next morning, Mike checks on Jessie's wound and sees it's pretty deep. He patches her up as best he can. Jessie asks him why he doesn't contact anyone else in her family. Mike tells her what he knows, that everyone else in her family is gone, and she'd been living with just her uncle. Jessie's surprised he knows so much about her. Mike explains that her uncle was actually his friend. They served together in the Navy. Mike heads out to handle his daily tasks, leaving Jessie alone. While he's gone, she finds a knife in the house and keeps it on her for protection. That night, Mike wakes up to find Jessie having terrible nightmares. He approaches to comfort her, and she suddenly pulls the knife on him. Mike doesn't flinch. Instead, he calmly talks her down, then shows her the proper way to hold the knife and defend herself if she ever needs to. Days turn into weeks, and Mike starts taking care of Jessie like she's his own daughter. He makes sure she's fed and looked after. Jessie grows attached to Mike's dog and spends hours playing with him. This actually makes Mike happy to see. Eventually, Jessie discovers that Mike never bothered naming his dog. She decides to call him Tommy. She also knows how to play chess, which genuinely impresses Mike. Mike checks on Jessie's leg wound again, but the swelling just won't go down. He realizes he needs to make a trip to the mainland to get proper medicine. So Mike takes his boat and heads to the nearest town. At the store, he keeps his face covered, carefully avoiding the security cameras. Meanwhile, across the ocean in London, we cut to a high-stakes government hearing. A man named Sam, the former director of MI6, is being grilled about a program he created called Project Eva Adams. This program illegally monitored phone communications worldwide, feeding intelligence directly to MI6. It's a massive violation of privacy rights. Sam defends himself, arguing that EVA has prevented countless terrorist attacks and saved lives. The court orders the program shut down immediately. Sam goes straight to the Prime Minister, Danny, to discuss the situation. Danny's well aware of how valuable the program is, but with elections coming up, his hands are tied. He tells Sam he needs to retire for now, at least until after the election. Sam can keep the program running quietly for a bit longer, but he needs to step back publicly. Sam reluctantly agrees. Back in the mainland, Mike picks up new clothes for Jessie while he's shopping. As he's leaving, he accidentally walks through the background of some influencers filming a video, showing zero awareness of what they're doing. What Mike doesn't realize is that this video gets picked up by MI6's EVA program. The system scans his face and flags him. The information goes straight to MI6's new director, Rose. When Rose pulls up the file, She sees a different face associated with Mike's identity, labeled as an international terrorist responsible for multiples bombings. She immediately orders her team to send in a special task force to apprehend him. The next day, Mike finishes treating Jesse's wound and rebandages it. Jesse's thrilled with her new clothes. That evening, as they're eating dinner together, Mike hears something outside. He looks out and spots a boat approaching. Multiple officers heading toward the island. As the officers reach the shore, Mike springs his trap. He's rigged the beach with hidden devices and he activates them, taking out several officers immediately. Their remaining officers are getting torn apart by Mike's defenses. One officer manages to spot Mike and opens fire, hitting him. But even wounded, Mike doesn't slow down. He closes in on them hand to hand, and none of them can match his speed and skill. Tommy attacks him to protect Jesse, but the officer shoots the dog dead. Enraged, Jesse tries to go after the officer, but he grabs her and starts dragging her away. Mike is still outside, systematically taking down their remaining officers. He shoots the one holding Jesse and gets her to safety. Mike continues eliminating the officers one by one until the threat's neutralized. He rushes to Jesse and tells her they need to leave immediately. He finds Tommy's body and takes a moment, clearly devastated by losing his companion. But there's no time to grieve. He and Jesse get into a boat and take off. Back at MI6 headquarters, Rose is watching the whole operation unfold in real time. She's shocked. This is no ordinary terrorist. She makes the call to send in their most dangerous operative, Delta Operative James. Out on the water, Jesse notices Mike is bleeding. She asks who all those people were. Mike tells her they're ghosts from his past coming back to haunt him. He hands Jesse a gun and teaches her how to use it, then steers the boat towards a nearby house. He needs medical supplies to treat his wounds. Mike breaks into a house to search for first aid supplies. A young boy spots Mike. And moments later, the kid's father comes in and holds Mike at gunpoint. Before the situation can escalate, Jesse turns the tables, holding her gun on the father. Seeing Mike's injuries, she asks the man to help treat him. The father reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, back at MI6, a member of Rose's team makes a critical discovery. The terrorist profile they match to Mike isn't actually him. Someone deliberately swapped the identities. They also find that Mike's real files were deleted from the system with a fake death certificate as justification. The truth comes out. Mike is a former MI6 agent. Rose is stunned. She needs answers and the only person who can give him is Sam. All of Mike's operational records have been wiped clean. Sam also learns through Eva that Mike is alive and he's equally shocked. He immediately sends a message to James. Mike is Black Kite Delta Ops. The moment you see him, eliminate him and the girl. Back at the house, the father finishes patching Mike up. Mike's about to leave when he realizes the son has called the police. Mike tells the family to hide inside as officers surround the property. Rose is monitoring the situation remotely with her team. As the officers move in, the boy and his father try to run. James, positioned as a sniper, shoots the father dead. Mike manages to save the boy, then grabs Jesse and escapes through the back. More officers are waiting, but Mike fights his way through them, taking their weapons and stealing one of their vehicles. James pursues them in another vehicle, firing at Mike's car. Mike retaliates by ramming James' car off the road, then speeds away. Rose calls Sam, demanding answers about Mike Mason and why his files were deleted. Sam tells her the story. Years ago, he created the Black Kite Ops Department. Mike Mason was the first officer, an elite assassin who followed every order and eliminated the world's most dangerous people. But then Sam gave him an assignment to kill a foreign officer who supposedly posed a threat to national security. Mike refused, and Sam suspects Mike had been compromised by the target. Mike went rogue and became a threat himself. Sam reminds Rose that Mike's one of the most dangerous operatives he ever trained, and if she wants to stop him, she'll need to send everything she's got. Rose agrees, but she doesn't trust Sam. She has her team dig deeper and discovers the real story. The foreign officer was actually a scientist named Chad, who was developing free cancer treatments. Sam wanted him dead at the request of major pharmaceutical companies who stood to lose billions. That's why Mike refused the order and turned against MI6. Some monitoring through security cameras realizes Rose knows the truth and that she's not going to back down. Mike and Jesse continue driving. Jesse asks if he's taking her to his family. Mike tells her he doesn't have one. Family creates vulnerabilities and weaknesses. He needs to keep her away from the danger he's in. They arrive at a church and meet with Father Dick, who's actually Mike's old partner and former IT specialist for MI6. Dick's surprised to see Mike with a young girl. Mike explains that Jesse was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Together, they hack into the EVA system and activate it. Dick discovers why MI6 is hunting Mike. His new identity has been exposed and falsely linked to a terrorist profile. They realize Sam's behind it all. Mike asks Dick to keep Jesse safe while he goes to eliminate the threat. Dick initially refuses, but Jesse notices his cancer medication and tells him she recognizes it. Her mother died from cancer years ago. Dick admits he was diagnosed 5 months earlier. Mike's heartbroken for his old friend. They decide to reach out to Chen, a dangerous criminal who's the only one who can help them now. As Dick goes outside to prep his car, Mike senses something's wrong. James has arrived. Mike and James engage in a brutal, intense fight. Both men are highly trained killers, and the combat is vicious. Mike manages to wound James, then grabs Jesse and escapes with Dick. James pursues them at full speed, but can't catch up. Jesse asks who that fast, dangerous man was. Dick explains that James is basically a younger version of Mike, the agent who took Mike's place at MI6, now doing the same killing work Mike used to do. Mike and Jesse head into the city alone to meet with Chen. Jesse asks why she can't stay with him. Mike explains that the danger following him is enormous, and the only way to stop it is to eliminate the source. Jesse makes him promise he'll stay alive. Mike can't bring himself to answer. That night, they arrive at a nightclub. Security cameras capture their images and both Sam and Rose are alerted. They each deploy their teams to the location. Inside, Mike meets with Chen, a major crime boss who's shocked to see him. He thought Mike was dead. Mike asks Chen to get Jesse to Spain with a new identity and enough money to keep her safe. Chen refuses. Mike calmly explains that his hacker has detailed information about the containers of trafficked girls. Chen hides in his docks. If Chen doesn't help, that information goes straight to MI6, costing Chen millions. Chen tells Mike to wait while he arranges things. Jesse is upset that Mike's sending her away alone. Chen returns with a passport and cash, telling them to meet his contact at the docks. He'll take Jesse to Spain. Mike agrees. As they leave the club, multiple officers from both Sam's and Rose's teams flood the building. Mike immediately goes on the offensive, taking down officer after officer. Bodies pile up across the club floor. One officer manages to grab Jesse and drag her to a black van outside. Mike calls Dick for help. Dick hacks into the security cameras and guides Mike to Theven. Mike storms outside and methodically eliminates every officer in his path. He rescues Jesse, who's terrified and finally understands the level of danger Mike's been talking about. They escape, but James spots them and gives chase. Eventually, Mike and Jesse reach the docks. They find Chen's men waiting with a boat. Mike tells Jesse she'll be safe in Spain. Jesse tells him in all these years, he's the only family she's ever had. Mike promises her nothing will happen to him. A gunshot rings out. Mike shoves Jesse into the boat and Chen's men take off with Jesse. Mike turns to see James approaching. He challenges James to a fist fight. No weapons. The two elite operatives clash in an epic brawl. It's the number 1 and number 2 officers from Black Kite Delta operations going head-to-head. Punches fly relentlessly. Mike proves that even though he's older, a lion is still a lion. He grabs a large metal pipe and delivers the finishing blow, killing James. Mike walks away from the scene. The next day, Sam's at his home when he notices all his guards are dead. He knows immediately Mike's in his house. Sam tells him he was the best weapon he ever had, but then he stopped following orders. Mike replies that if he wanted to kill people for money, he would have just become a contract killer instead of joining MI6. Sam argues that money makes the world go round and offers Mike a chance to work together. They could run MI6 themselves. Mike says if he wanted that, He would have done it 10 years ago. He shoots Sam dead. 3 months later, we see Jessie in Spain sitting at a restaurant. Rose is monitoring her through the EVA program, convinced that Mike wouldn't just abandon Jessie like this. Rose realizes Mike's behind it. Outside, Mike sends Jessie a gift, a queen chess piece. He walks away with a satisfied smile. Inside, Jessie receives the gift and understands that Mike is alive. She smiles too. And with that, this incredible film comes to an end.